Question 63. Which of the following events would AWS Trusted Advisor identify as an unused resource? And the options are A. High utilization of Amazon EC2 instances. B. Overused Amazon EBS volumes. C. Increased load balancers. D. Low utilization of Amazon EC2 instances. And the correct answer is option D. Low utilization of Amazon EC2 instances. Explanation. Low utilization of Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud instances would be a validation that AWS Trusted Advisor would flag within your AWS infrastructure. This resource audits all your EC2 instances over the past 14 days to see if CPU utilization is less than 10%. It also looks for network I/O that is less than 5 MB on at least a 4-day window. The type of instance you create will impact this type of resource because the cost varies between spot reserved and on-demand instances. Increased load balancer is not correct because the AWS Trusted Advisor resource looks for load balancers that are in an idle state or ones that are not being used. High utilization of Amazon EC2 instances is not correct because AWS Trusted Advisor resource looks for the CPUs that are less than 10% used over the past 14 days. Overused Amazon Elastic Block Store volumes is not correct because AWS Trusted Advisor resource looks for unused EBS volumes that are unattached or have very little write activity. Next question. You are working for a large data warehousing company that processes geographic data information. You support a vendor batch processing application that runs on 2 EC2 instances. The batch process runs for several hours and starts at 6 a.m., 9 a.m., and 3 p.m. The batch process aggregates the data and sends it to the front-end application. This application does experience a sporadic increase in resource utilization during these times. What is the most cost-effective solution for this application? And the options are A. On-premises servers. B. Reserved instances. C. Dedicated instances. D. Spot instances. And the correct answer is option D. Spot instances. Explanation. Spot instances is the best type of instance for this scenario because of the decrease in cost associated with spot instances. You can use spot instances over on-demand instances because of the spot instance price. The spot instance price is an hourly driven price based on the demand for spot instances within a specific availability zone that is set by Amazon. Spot instances should be used when applications run processes in the background, perform batch processing and data aggregation processes. Dedicated instances are not correct because this type of instance would not be cost effective considering the cost of spot instances is over a 70% savings as compared to on-demand instances. On-premise servers are not correct because this would be an even costlier solution because you would be responsible for the purchasing of hardware and licensing. Reserved instances are not correct because although they also have over a 70% cost saving as compared to using on-demand instances, but they are a solution that is dedicated to a 1 to 3 year term and instance type is limited. This solution would not be used for sporadic increases in resources. Next question. Your company needs to link its on-premises systems to its cloud on AWS. Which of these technologies would allow you to create a secure connection from an on-premises data center to a VPC on AWS? And the options are A. Internet Gateway. B. Public Subnet. C. Virtual Private Gateway. D. Edge Location. And the correct answer is option C. Virtual Private Gateway. Explanation. You would need a virtual private gateway. To make a secure connection between an on-premise data center to a virtual private cloud on AWS, you need to have a virtual private network connection using a VPG. A VPC is an isolated portion of the AWS cloud that has resources defined and restricted for use by a customer. Another dedicated connectivity option is AWS Direct Connect, which allows for a dedicated high-speed fiber optic connection directly from a customer's data center to the AWS VPC. The advantages of using Direct Connect are reduced cost and higher throughput. You would not use an internet gateway because that is used for allowing internet traffic to access your VPC, not for creating a dedicated secure connection. You would not use edge locations because those are used for content delivery networks to serve cached content at lower latencies for end users, not creating secure dedicated links between data centers and AWS. You would not use a public subnet because it is a portion of a VPC that contains resources which are meant to be public facing. Next question. You are instructed to create an Amazon RDS database environment. At the same time, you are advised that you need to understand how you are going to be built based on your research and design of the newly created RDS environment. As of today, your EC2 instance has been connected for 8 hours and 45 minutes. Keep in mind, there are no set of fees and no minimums to be concerned with. Which billing option specifies how you would be billed? And the options are A. Network time, B. Dynamic scaling, C. Running time, D. Listeners. And the correct answer is option C. Running time. Explanation. When you create an Amazon Relational Database Service environment, you are built by the running time, instance class, backup storage, database storage allocated, instance class, and data transfers in and out of your Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud instance. When you are built specifically for a running instance, it is classified by the instance R, which simply means an instance that has been running for 1 hour. However, if you have an instance that has been running for 10 minutes, you would still be changed for 1 full instance hour. In this scenario, you would be billed for 9 hours. You can bill RDS based on the following component. Dynamic scaling gives you the ability to create an auto-scaling policy that can allow you to dynamically add or remove EC2 instances depending on thresholds created by Amazon CloudWatch. This is not an option related to billing. Listeners are used by load balancers to help evenly distribute traffic accordingly, but their main job is to manage the incoming connections into the load balancer itself. This component is not associated with billing. You are not charged by how long your EC2 instance is connected to your network. Network time charges do not exist as of today for an Amazon RDS environment. Next question. Which 2 statements are true regarding AWS regions and availability zones? Select 2 options. And the options are A. Each AZ has several data centers. B. An AZ can have no data centers. C. There is only one AZ in a region. D. An AZ can contain several regions. E. A region can have several AZs. And the correct answer is option A. Each AZ has several data centers. And option E. A region can have several AZs. Explanation. The correct response is that a region can have several availability zones, and each AZ in the region has several data centers. An AWS region is an area which is geographically isolated and comprises several data centers. Each data center has its own connectivity, power systems, and networking infrastructure. One or more such data centers are referred to as AZs. AZs are miles apart. When an Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud instance is created, it also creates a virtual machine that runs on a physical computer which is inside an availability zone. The other options are incorrect, as a region can have multiple AZs, not only one. An AZ cannot contain a region. Regions contain AZs. Each AZ has to have a data center in it. To ensure protection against any kind of disaster that may be regionally widespread, you need to launch several EC2 instances and have these spread across several AZs. As a best practice, AWS recommends running your infrastructure across a minimum of 2 AZs to ensure any issues with one AZ doesn't affect the system performance overall. For example, if you have 3 AZs in the Northern California region, you can run 2 EC2 instances for an application, each in a different AZ in the region. In the event that one of these AZs fails, your other instance in the operational AZ would still be working. This way you achieve high availability and ensure no single point of failure in your cloud infrastructure. Some AWS services operate at the region level, and work across several AZs without needing a customer's intervention. An example is the elastic load balancer that covers all AZs in a region and works with EC2 instances in a specific AZs. By having multiple such availability zones inside of an AWS region, you ensure high availability and remove any single points of failure. Next question. Which of the following is an optional security layer attached to a subnet within a VPC for controlling inbound and outbound traffic? And the options are A. VPC flow logs, B. Web application firewall, C. Security group, D. Network ACL. And the correct answer is option D. Network ACL. Explanation. A network ACL controls traffic to or from a subnet according to a set of inbound and outbound rules. This means it represents network level security. Option A is incorrect. VPC flow logs will capture information about IP traffic in and out of VPC. This will not be used for controlling purposes. Option B is incorrect. Web application firewall can be configured to protect web applications from common security threats. It can be deployed on devices such as Amazon CloudFront Application Load Balancer and Amazon API Gateway. Option C is incorrect. Security groups are attached at instance level and not at the subnet level. Next question. Which of these would you use for running programs that can automatically retrieve key costs related to various AWS services? And the options are A. AWS Pricing API, B. AWS Simple Monthly Calculator, C. AWS Cost Explorer, D. AWS Services Catalog. And the correct answer is option A. AWS Pricing API. Explanation. You will use the AWS Pricing Application Programming Interface. The AWS Pricing API, also referred to as Price List API, provides a means for programmatic access to AWS pricing data. This is useful for accurately predicting and managing cost of using AWS services. The API allows access to a pricing index that a customer can use to retrieve detailed pricing information for the listed AWS service. The service index can be downloaded as a JavaScript object notation JSON file. There are APIs offered by AWS for querying prices. Number 1. AWS Price List Bulk API allows you to retrieve the prices of AWS services in bulk through a JSON or comma-separated values file. This API keeps historical records of the price list. Number 2. AWS Price List Query API allows you to use AWS Software Development Kit SDK or Command Line Interface CLI to retrieve pricing data for specific AWS services and process. An example is for getting prices data for Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud instances with specific CPU, memory, and regional configurations. You will not use the AWS Simple Monthly Calculator. AWS Simple Monthly Calculator allows you to get a monthly cost estimate of AWS services for a specific use case based on your projected uses. The AWS Simple Monthly Calculator receives constant updates on the latest pricing for AWS services across all regions. You will not use the AWS Service Catalog. The AWS Service Catalog allows system administrators to manage and distribute selections of products to end users who can then utilize them from their own personalized portals. The products can include websites, databases, servers, and applications that can be deployed by AWS services. The products page of the AWS Service Catalog console displays the cloud resources and tools that are assigned to a user by the administrator. You will not use AWS Cost Explorer. AWS Cost Explorer allows you to create reports for analyzing data related to your cost and uses of AWS services. Cost Explorer provides you with 12 months of historical data and allows you to filter resources by tags. This allows you to see which resources were in greater use than others during specific periods, helping you with cost optimization and curbing unnecessary expenditure. The Cost Explorer dashboard provides a visual display of costs related to various AWS services. Next question. A streaming company is not allowed to broadcast its content in certain countries and regions. What would be the best Amazon Route 53 routing policy for ensuring compliance? And the options are A. Geo-proximity, B. Geolocation, C. Multi-value answer, D. Failover. And the correct answer is option B. Geolocation. Explanation. Amazon Route 53 geolocation routing policy makes it possible for different types of content to be served depending on the browser's geographical location. In this use case, the streaming company can serve a restriction message if Amazon Route 53 detects origin requests from prohibited countries. Option A is incorrect because geo-proximity allows for DNS traffic to be routed in accordance with the bias or preset preference rule. This allows the user to be served with content from resources closest to their geographical location. This routing manipulates DNS traffic flow only. This routing policy is not the most suitable. Option C is incorrect because a multi-value answer primarily addresses the quality of service and resources queried in DNS request. This routing policy is not the most suitable. Option D is incorrect because failover allows for the automatic switch to healthy DNS resources if another becomes unavailable. It will not allow for the preferential serving of content based on the geographical location. This routing policy is not the most suitable. Next question. Which of the following is a customer responsibility under AWS shared responsibility model? And the options are A. Patching of host OS deployed on Amazon S3, B. Logical access controls for underlying infrastructure, C. Physical security of the facilities, D. Patching of guest OS deployed on Amazon EC2 instance. And the correct answer is option D. Patching of guest OS deployed on Amazon EC2 instance. Explanation. Under the AWS shared responsibility model, AWS takes care of infrastructure configuration and management, while customers must take care of the resources they launched within AWS. Option A is incorrect. Amazon S3 is part of the infrastructure layer, and patching of host OS or configuration for Amazon S3 is the responsibility of AWS. Option B is incorrect. AWS has the responsibility for the logical access controls for the underlying infrastructure. Option C is incorrect. Physical security of the facilities is AWS responsibility. Next question. AWS offers two types of savings plans to its customers: compute savings plans and EC2 instance saving plans. Which of the following services is not covered by the compute savings plans? And the options are A. Amazon EC2, B. AWS Fargate, C. AWS Lambda, D. AWS Light Sail. And the correct answer is option D. AWS Light Sail. Explanation. Compute savings plans doesn't apply to AWS Light Sail. Option A is incorrect. Compute saving plan applies to EC2. Option B is incorrect. Compute savings plans applies to Fargate. Option C is incorrect. Compute saving plan applies to Lambda. Next question. When calculating total cost of ownership TCO for the AWS cloud, which of the following factors is taken into account? And the options are A. The number of servers migrated to AWS, B. The number of users migrated to AWS, C. The number of passwords migrated to AWS, D. The number of keys migrated to AWS. And the correct answer is option A. The number of servers migrated to AWS. Explanation. Running servers will incur cost. The number of running servers is one factor of server cost, a key component of AWS total cost of ownership. B, C, and D are incorrect. These are not factors in AWS total cost of ownership. Next question. Which two functions can be performed using Amazon Route 53? Select two options. And the options are A. Create and manage cryptographic keys, B. Connect user request to AWS infrastructure, C. Transfer DNS records for domain names from other registrars, D. Connect an on-premises data center directly to AWS via fiber optic cables. And the correct answer is option B. Connects user request to AWS infrastructure, and C. transfer DNS records for domain names from other registrars. Explanation. Amazon Route 53 connects user requests to AWS infrastructure. It also provides domain name system services, including transferring DNS records for any existing domain names that may be with other registrars. Using Route 53, you can also register new domain names. Route 53 provides a reliable method of connecting users to infrastructure, which may be inside or outside of AWS, including allowing end users to access web applications hosted using AWS. To connect an on-premises data center directly to AWS via fiber optic cables, you would not use Route 53. For this, you would use AWS Direct Connect. AWS Direct Connect connects your data center and virtual private cloud. This helps bring down network costs and increases the bandwidth available to your network. To create and manage cryptographic keys, you would not use Route 53. For this, you would use AWS Key Management Service, KMS. To access AWS security and compliance reports, you would not use Route 53. You would use AWS Artifact. Next question. Your company stores their source code in an open repository that is accessible to the public. Now, the security team demands that the source code be kept confidential and secure. What AWS service can you use to store the source code? And the options are A. AWS Code Pipeline, B. AWS Code Commit, C. AWS Code Deploy, D. AWS Code Star. And the correct answer is option B. AWS Code Commit. Explanation. AWS Code Commit is a secure, highly scalable, managed source control service that hosts private Git repositories. Code Commit makes it easy for teams to securely collaborate on code, with contributions encrypted in transit and at rest. Option A is incorrect. AWS Code Pipeline is a fully managed continuous delivery service that helps you automate your release pipelines for fast and reliable application and infrastructure updates. Code Pipeline automates the build, test, and deploy phases of your release process every time there is a code change based on the release model you define. Option C is incorrect. AWS Code Deploy is a deployment service that automates application deployments to Amazon EC2 instances, on-premises instances, serverless Lambda functions, or Amazon ECS services. Option D is incorrect. AWS Code Star provides a unified user interface, enabling you to manage your software development activities in one place easily. With AWS Code Star, you can set up your entire continuous delivery toolchain in minutes, allowing you to start releasing code faster. Next question. An educational institution maintains a dedicated web server on EC2 and database cluster for students to access exam results. Servers are idle for most of the learning cycle and becomes very busy when exam results are released. What changes could be made to the architecture to make it scalable and cost-effective? And the options are A. Configure AWS Elastic Load Balancing between the web server and database cluster. B. Configure RDS Multi-Availability Zone for performance optimization. C. Configure serverless architecture leveraging AWS Lambda functions. And the correct answer is option C. Configure serverless architecture leveraging AWS Lambda functions. Explanation. Leveraging AWS Lambda functions will remove the need to run a dedicated web server for the organization. During periods of high request to the database cluster, AWS Lambda backend infrastructure will automatically scale out resources to meet the demand adequately. Option A is incorrect because the premise of the scenario is about cost efficiency more than load and server responsiveness. The addition of elastic load balancing will increase the cost based on the number of instances. So, this option is not cheaper. Option B is incorrect because RDS multi-agent helps with disaster recovery, enhanced availability, and durability. However, the scenario requires a solution that reduces the cost of maintaining the organization's infrastructure. Option D is incorrect because migrating to Amazon EC2 spot instances may negatively impact the service during periods of high traffic. Instances could be terminated mid-transaction that would have adverse effects on the overall user experience. This would not be a cost-effective solution. Spot instances let you to take advantage of unused EC2 capacity in the AWS cloud. Spot instances are available at up to a 90% discount compared to on-demand prices. Spot instances can reclaim the capacity back with 2 minutes of notice. Next question. A business analyst would prefer to avoid complex database queries and static spreadsheets when creating regular reports for management. Their goal is to publish interactive dashboards and insightful, visually appealing reports. What is the best service to use to accomplish this? And the options are A. Amazon QuickSight, B. Amazon Redshift, C. Amazon CloudWatch Dashboards, D. Amazon Athena with Amazon Glue. And the correct answer is option A. Amazon QuickSight. Explanation. Amazon QuickSight is the most appropriate service in this scenario. It is a fully managed service that allows for insightful business intelligence reporting with creative data delivery methods, including graphical and interactive dashboards. QuickSight includes machine learning that allows users to discover inconspicuous trends and patterns on their datasheets. Option B is incorrect. Amazon Redshift service is a data warehouse and will not meet the requirements of interactive dashboards and dynamic means of delivering reports. Option C is incorrect. Amazon CloudWatch dashboards will not accomplish the requirements of this scenario. They are used to monitor AWS system resources and infrastructure services, though they are customizable and present information graphically. Option D is incorrect. Amazon Athena is a query service that allows for easy data analysis in Amazon S3 by using standard SQL. This service doesn't meet the requirement of the scenario. Thank you for watching this video. Buy our AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner CLF-C01 premium questions with 50% off. Check link in the description.